Close your eyes and think about the last dream you had. Was it a fragmented scene? A hallway that changed into an airport? Or was it a full-blown story where you remembered characters, dialogue, and a strange emotional aftertaste on waking? Dreams are not a single thing. They come in flavors, depths, and purposes. Today we're mapping 5 levels of dreaming, from the flickers at the edge of sleep to the deep archetypal journeys that can reshape identity, weaving together the latest neuroscience, decades of dream research, cultural wisdom, and what people around the world report when they tell us what they experienced while asleep. At the most basic level, we need to remember something science has been clarifying in recent years. Sleep itself isn't a single state. It's a cycling architecture of stages: light sleep, deeper slow-wave sleep, and the vivid theater of REM. And these stages shape the kinds of dreams that appear. Modern sleep physiology describes sleep in stages often labeled N1, N2, N3, and REM, and a typical night cycles through these stages several times. Each stage corresponds to distinct brainwave patterns and bodily changes, and that sets the stage for different oniric experiences. Level 1. Hypnagogic sparks, pre-sleep fragments, and micro-dreams. This is the liminal zone when you're sliding into sleep or almost waking. People call these hypnagogic, falling asleep, and hypnopompic, waking phenomena. They're short, often hallucinatory fragments, flashes of faces, musical snippets, falling sensations, or a sudden vivid image that feel more like overlays on perception than full narratives. Neuroscience links these experiences to transient intrusions of wake-like cortical activity, while the thalamus and sensory gating systems are changing states. They're lightning quick and frequently bizarre because the brain is partially decoupled from external input and begins synthesizing memories and sensations without the usual editing controls. Hypnagogic imagery can sometimes presage the themes of deeper dreams later in the night, and in creative people, it's famously been a source of inspiration. Think of inventions, melodies, or images sketched in the dark and later refined while awake. Level 2. Procedural and fragmentary dreams, NREM micro-narratives. For a long time, popular culture taught us that dreams happen exclusively in REM, but recent large-scale analyses of sleep and dream reports show that meaningful dreaming can and does occur outside REMs and NREM sleep, and the content there often looks different. Dreams during N2 or even deeper N3 stages can feel calmer or more fragmentary, sometimes replaying procedural elements, walking, riding, repeating a task, or surfacing emotional residues from the day in compressed forms. These NREM dreams often correlate with memory consolidation processes, the brain replaying and reorganizing details for storage, but they can also carry symbolic or emotional content that feels meaningful to the dreamer. The emerging consensus from large databases of sleep and dream recordings is that dreaming is more widely distributed across sleep stages than previously thought, and the neural signature of dreaming in non-REM appears to be more wake-like in specific cortical networks. Level 3. REM narratives, the classic vivid story dreams. When most people say, "I dreamed last night," they're thinking of REM dreams. Cinematic, often bizarre narratives filled with strong emotions, impossible physics, and memorable imagery. REM sleep is characterized by rapid eye movements, high cortical activity, and a near paralysis of large skeletal muscles, conditions that let the brain simulate dynamic scenarios without acting them out. Current research suggests REM plays a unique role in emotional regulation and the creative recombination of memories. It helps generalize learning and weaves new experiences into existing semantic frameworks. Recent studies show that REM appears particularly important for integrating complex narratives and broad categories of memory. You might lose a specific detail overnight, but retain the gist of an experience more readily if you had adequate REM. That selective reshaping of memory may be why REM dream narratives can feel so meaningful. The brain is literally trying to fit new threads into the tapestry of what you already know. Level 4. Lucid dreams, awareness inside the dream. Lucidity is the moment you realize while dreaming that you are dreaming. It's not an all-or-nothing switch. Modern research treats lucidity as a continuum, faint insight at one end, full self-reflective control, and deliberate manipulation of dream content at the other. Neuroscience has begun to map lucidity's physiological signatures. EEG and neuroimaging work show that lucid dreams involve activity patterns that combine REM-related imagery networks with awake-like prefrontal activation, especially in regions tied to metacognition and self-awareness. In other words, during a lucid dream, the brain transiently re-engages networks normally active when you're awake and self-reflective, while still running the sensory simulations of REM. That combination explains why lucidity often brings both clearer memory for the dream and the capacity to steer it. The dreamer temporarily recovers some of the cognitive controls usually suspended during REM. Clinically, lucid dreaming is promising as a therapeutic tool for nightmares, PTSD, and rehearsal of behaviors because it lets individuals re-script distressing content within a safe, self-generated world. Recent electrophysiological research has refined which neural signatures best indicate lucidity and has underscored how variable lucidity is across individuals and within single nights. Level 5, transpersonal and archetypal. Dreams, collective symbols and identity-shaping journeys. At the deepest level, dreams can feel less like private films and more like messages from a larger psyche. Across cultures and psychotherapeutic traditions, most famously in Jungian analysis, certain dream motifs, archetypes and mythic narratives recur. The wise old man, the trickster, the sea as the unconscious, death as transformation. Jung proposed that dreams operate on multiple layers: personal concerns, developmental themes, and access to a collective symbolic reservoir. People who undergo profound individuation experiences often describe dreams that catalyze lasting psychological change, integration of shadow aspects, emergence of creative purpose, or dramatic reorientation of life choices. Those transpersonal dreams sometimes feel prophetic, or as if they tap into a substrate beyond personal memory. From a scientific angle, of course, we must be cautious. Not every dream is an archetypal revelation, but large-scale content analyses combined with cross-cultural comparison show that certain symbolic patterns are surprisingly consistent, which suggests our brains may be predisposed to generate particular symbolic structures under specific conditions. If these 5 levels sound neat on paper, the lived reality is fuzzier and deeper. Dreams slide across levels within a single night. A hypnagogic image from level 1 can seed a REM narrative in level 3 that later ripples into a lucid insight at level 4 and finally ripens into a Jungian integration in level 5 weeks or months later. Dreams are not static categories, they're processes. So how do modern scientists probe these layers? The toolbox is expanding. Researchers combine polysomnography, EEG, EMG, EOG, awakenings with immediate dream reports, high-density EEG source localization, and even intracranial recordings in rare clinical settings. Another powerful approach is longitudinal databases, hundreds or thousands of nights of paired brain, data and first-person dream reports, which allow cross-stage comparison and statistical analysis, of which brain features correlate with vivid narrative, emotional intensity or lucidity. The upshot is more nuance. Dreaming is not confined to one physiological signature, and conscious-like activity can appear in surprising micro-windows across sleep stages. What does this mean for the everyday dreamer? First, it validates our reports. If you remember a profound dream after waking, it likely reflects a real pattern of brain activity, not a mere confabulation. The richness of a dream report tends to mirror how much integrated neural activity occurred during the sleep stage that produced it. Second, there are practical routes to cultivating certain levels. To encourage lucid dreams, evidence-based techniques include reality checks during waking hours, mnemonic induction before sleep, and wake-back-to-bed methods that increase the chance of re-entering REM with higher metacognitive availability. Sleep hygiene, consistent sleep schedules, and reducing alcohol before bed help maintain healthy REM cycles and therefore richer REM narratives. Conversely, sleep deprivation fragments REM and can rob you of the narrative-level dream work your brain wants to do. Recent lab work shows that even small manipulations, timed awakenings, and targeted cognitive rehearsal can shift dream content and lucidity frequencies, which opens therapeutic possibilities. Skeptics rightly ask, how do we separate poetic meaning from neural noise? Science advances by triangulation. Electrophysiology and phenomenology must talk to each other. The most convincing work treats dream reports as data, immediate, carefully elicited, and correlated with precise brain signals, then asks whether we can reliably predict which reports will be rich, symbolic, or lucid from neural signatures alone. Progress has been encouraging. High-density EEG can now identify signatures that predict when a person will later report a vivid narrative, and specific oscillatory patterns are associated with lucidity. Yet we are far from reading dreams like text from neural codes. The field is building robust statistical approaches, pre-registered designs, and cross-lab replication to avoid the storytelling traps that used to dominate dream interpretation. Beyond science, there's a human story. Dreams have always been central to culture, prophecy in ancient cultures, inspiration for artists and scientists, and healing in psychotherapeutic practice. Jung's emphasis on symbols and individuation still echoes in modern therapy, where clinicians use dreams to access emotional material outside habitual defenses. People report that long-term dream work, journaling, reflecting, or working with therapists or dream groups, can shift patterns of behavior and mood. Whether or not dreams are messages from a hidden realm, they function as powerful mirrors that bring unconscious tendencies into consciousness. In that sense, the 5 levels are not merely categories for researchers, they are a map for personal exploration, from noticing the hypnagogic sparks that fuel creativity, to deliberately practicing lucidity, to revisit a recurring nightmare and rewrite it. If you want to experiment, start simple. Keep a dream journal by your bed and write anything you remember immediately upon waking. Details fade fast. Notice the texture. Was the dream a quick image, a procedural repetition, a vivid narrative, a lucid episode, or did it feel archetypal and transformative? Try a reality check habit in the day. Look at text twice, try pushing a finger through a palm, ask, am I dreaming? This habit raises metacognition and increases the odds of spotting dreams while they're happening. Practice modest sleep hygiene, consistent times, reduced blue light, and a cool, dark environment to preserve healthy REM density and the narrative level work your brain needs. If nightmares plague you, seek therapeutic approaches that include dream-focused techniques under professional guidance. Finally, the 5-level framework invites humility. Dreams are personal and messy. No single model captures everything, but the framework helps us notice patterns, the flicker at the edge of sleep that seeds an idea, the fragmented Non-REM replay that consolidates a motor skill, the REM story that reshapes meaning, the lucid window where you can intervene, and the transpersonal dream that nudges identity. Across these levels, the brain is doing technical work and something else too, weaving a subjective life. Neuroscience, philosophy, and psychotherapeutic wisdom are converging to show that dreams are not epiphenomena to be shrugged off. They are cognitive workspaces, emotional laboratories, and sometimes spiritual theaters, and the better we map them, the more ways we'll have to learn from them. So tonight, when you lie down, invite curiosity. Notice the hypnagogic flashes. Let the night cycle, and watch how scenes morph. Keep a pen nearby and capture a line on waking. You'll be doing what scientists do, collecting first-person data. Dreams are an interior frontier, complicated, resistant to tidy explanations, and intoxicatingly human. The 5 levels don't end the mystery, they give it a roadmap. And on that road, every fragment, every story, every lucid flight is an invitation to know yourself a little more deeply.
If you find this video informative, please hit the like button, subscribe this channel, and feel free to share your comments.